This is a Fletcher Free Library original production.
3, 2, 1, blast off!
Hey friends, it's Kate from the Fletcher Free Library, and I'm happy to be back with you again. And I have been waiting for weeks to share with you this really fun demonstration of exploding geysers. I've been waiting because it's been snowing and cold, and that's no fun to do this outside. And today is like one of the first days that it's sunny and there's no snow in the forecast because, you know, April in Vermont could go either way. It could be like 50 and beautiful, or it could be torrential snow. So I think we've got a pretty good day. So we're going to talk about the science because that's fun and important. And this will be your science lesson for the day. So you can check that block, tell your family, we don't have to do another science lesson. I'm going to show you how to make a geyser tube. We're going to test it out. Outside, of course, because we don't want to explode soda inside. And finally, at the end, I will give you some ideas of other experiments you might want to do, because we're not doing an experiment, I'm doing a demonstration. But you could change it up and you could experiment with several things. So let's get this party started. So let's get down into the science of this experiment. So we have two main ingredients. We have soda, and we're going to be using diet soda because if we're going to explode something, I don't want the sugar getting all over everything. So diet soda, while it will be messy, it won't be sticky. So I would highly recommend doing diet soda. So we have soda, and we have these little candies called Mentos that we're going to be using today. And so let's go back to the soda. So soda is mostly water, some chemical flavorings. If it's sugar, it has sugar soda, it has sugar in it, but this one doesn't. And then there is gas pumped into it to make it bubbly water, and that gas is called carbon dioxide. Yeah, the same stuff that we breathe out is the same stuff that gets pumped into soda to make it bubbly. You know, we can't just blow into it and make it bubbly. We don't have enough carbon dioxide coming out of our breath to do that. So this has to happen in a bottling plant with high pressure machines. So you can't do that part at home. But it's the same stuff that comes out when we exhale or breathe out is what's in soda. So that's called carbon dioxide. So it's water, some chemical flavorings, some carbon dioxide. That's basically it in here. And then it's bottled under pressure and then sent around the world. So inside here is water. That's the main ingredient. And we talked about this before. If you watched the video about walking rainbows, we talked a little bit about water molecules liking to stick together, right? Do you remember we talked about that? So water has something called surface tension. Oh, and I have another little piece of paper. Surface tension. That means the molecules in water like to stick together, okay? So what happens is when they pump in all this gas, the water forms around the gas. So the gas is being pushed in and the water will clump up around it and surround the gas. And so the bubbles are surrounded by water. But when you add something that changes the surface tension, the gas is able to escape. Okay, so let's see, what are some ways that we know this? Okay, remember when we did the penny experiment at the library? Maybe you do. We took pennies and we drip, 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 drip water on them. Okay, do you remember that? And a lot of water droplets stuck to the top before they flowed over. and we learned that water has a lot of surface tension. It likes to stick together. We also use some things like oil, and I think we used dishwashing liquid, and when we added that, it broke the tension on the water and it allowed it to flow off really quickly. So it's not just oil and soap that do that, but lots of other things. Another example would be, I bet you've had this, a root beer float. Okay, so you take the root beer and you put it in a glass, and then you drop in some ice cream and it gets all foamy, right? When the ice cream starts to melt into your drink, it does the same thing. It breaks the surface tension of the water and the soda, and it starts to push up and bubble. And that's why you get that frothy, creamy top that everybody loves. So the way that we're gonna break the surface tension is we're gonna drop in some candies. And the candies, when they come in, they'll start to dissolve the outside of the sugar coating, and that will break the tension in the water, and the bubbles, the carbon dioxide will shoot out, okay? It's pretty fascinating. I don't know who discovered this, but it must have been a fun discovery when they did do. So we really only need these two major items, and the rest of the items you probably have around the house, but these you might need to go in and buy at the grocery store next time you're out. Let's see if there's anything else I forgot. Nope, I think I got it. So hopefully you'll be able to explain that to someone else, and we'll talk about it a little more while we're making things. But the Mentos break the surface tension of the water, allowing the gas to explode out. It's pretty cool. So let's move on to how to make your own geyser tube. So at the very beginning, you saw a geyser erupting, and I used this geyser tube that I had from when I was a school teacher. So let me tell you about this. This screws onto the top of a soda bottle, and it has a little chamber right here, and when you take this top off, you can drop your Mentos right in this chamber, 3 or 4 of them, and then you screw the top on, and it's got a smaller hole, so it forces the soda out with stronger force so that it goes higher. The neat thing about this thing is it has a little pin here on the side that you can push in and pull out. And the reason that's important is you have it all set up and you have your Mentos ready, and then you pull the pin and you run away, because if you stood there, you would get covered in soda. So probably all or most of you don't have one of these at home, but that's no problem because we're going to make our own today. So you're going to need a piece of paper. It can be just regular copier paper. It could be a little bit stronger if you want, or it could be construction paper. It really doesn't matter. And the size doesn't really matter, but here's what it needs to do. It needs to be tall enough to force the soda out, and it needs to be big enough to wrap up a Mento tube, okay? Because we're gonna wrap it in here. And it's gonna look like this when we're done, or something like this. So let's get started. So this one is, let's measure it. It's about 4 inches across and 7 inches long. But it could be, yours doesn't have to be those exact measurements, but that's gonna work. And I'm gonna take my Mentos, and I'm gonna put it right inside, and I'm gonna roll it up. But I'm not gonna roll it up too tight, because if you roll it up too tight, then the candies won't be able to drop through. So I wanna be able to, when I shake it, that the Mentos will fall out. So I don't want it to be too tight. You see how that's working? Okay, so I'm gonna hold that there, and you might need a little help with this because it gets tricky. I'm gonna take a piece of just regular tape and just lightly tape the bottom and the top. But then I'm gonna go back with some stronger tape because there's gonna be a lot of force that comes out of this. So I just taped the bottom and the top, and I wanna make sure that my candies will come out. So I'm not gonna pinch it. I'm just gonna, whoop, ta-da! So I know it's a good size because I can stick the candies in and out. Or I think I can. Or I did from the other end. There we go. Okay, so the candies come out. Okay, So my tube is pretty much ready to go, but I need to do a couple things. I need to tape it with some stronger tape. Oh, my dog just came in. That's what all that noise is. So I'm going to take, this is electrical tape. That's what I had around. I think duct tape would be a great tape to use, or some masking tape, but not this stuff. That's not strong enough for what's going to happen to us. Okay, so I'm going to put 3 pieces. I'm going to put one on the top, the bottom, and the middle, just to make sure it's strong enough to handle the force of all that soda shooting out into the sky. Okay, got 2. I need 1 more. Let's see. Oh, I don't have very big fingernails. Okay. Number 3. What do you think? Bernie's got a bone. Nice. Go eat that bone. My friend Susan brought over some meat bones for Bernie. He's very excited because we don't have meat in the house. So when my friend brings meat bones, he goes a little crazy. Okay, so we've got our tube ready to go. Nothing fancy. And we've got our soda bottle. So I'm going to take off the top gently. Ooh, listen. Ooh, that's a little bit of that gas escaping, the carbon dioxide. And here's kind of the tricky part. So we're going to tape it to the top. So I'm going to grab a bunch more of this electrical tape. And I don't want to stick the paper inside the soda. Okay, the reason is we don't want to pinch it because then the candies won't fall in. I know, so this is a little bit tricky, but you're gonna watch me so that you can do it too. So I'm gonna put some tape along the bottom like this, and then I'm just gonna line it up with the top, yep, and start taping. Here we go. And I'm gonna do this a couple times because I want it really well taped. Oh, okay, here we go. I'm doing another one. Because if it starts to shoot out and the thing pops off, it won't be that exciting. Well, it'll still be exciting, but it won't be as exciting. Okay, so here's some more. So we're taping it nice and tight so it does not explode off. This kind of reminds me of maybe doing like a model rocket. Okay, I think that's gonna be good. Okay, so now we have a tube that's gonna force the soda up through it. And, but remember how we had a pin here so that the candy didn't fall? We're gonna do the same thing with a toothpick. We're just going to push. Ooh, I think I need something sharper. I think I need to go find a knife, something that's gonna poke through a little bit better. So hold on for a second. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back, and I think I'm gonna use a pin. So I'm gonna take my pin, I'm gonna push it, and then I'm gonna wiggle it around a little to make a decent sized little hole. Let me check it and see if it works. I'm gonna stick my toothpick in. Oh yeah, that's working good. So I've got a nice hole there. And then I'm gonna go to the other side and I'm gonna make a pinhole on the other side too. Okay, here I go. Making a little bit bigger, okay, and then I'm gonna take my toothpick and I'm gonna go through that hole too. But I'm trying to keep my tube from bending too much. So let's see if I can get my toothpick to go from one side to the next. Aha, there we go. That's gonna be what stops the candies, okay? And then I've got my Mentos. I'm gonna look down my hole. Oh yeah, I think this is gonna work. I hope it works. I'm not gonna do this inside just in case it falls through the cracks or something, because then I would have a big explosion in my dining room, and I don't think anybody would be very happy about that. So our next step, now that we have a pin in here, is to get our candies ready. I'm gonna bring 3. I'm gonna try 3. So I'm gonna bring 3 candies out, and our next step is gonna be outside to test it out. Okay, so be right back. Actually, we'll be outside next time. So you notice that I'm wearing some safety glasses. When you're blowing things up, it's a good idea to protect your eyes. You might not have safety glasses, but you might have some sunglasses Something like that would work great. Just something so that soda doesn't get in your eye. Anytime you're dealing with chemicals, you don't want things shooting at your face. So protect yourself first. Okay, we're outside now and ready to go. Let's see, can I flip the camera here? Or do I need to take another take? Nope. Okay, so I'm gonna flip the camera and get everything set up onto our exploding geysers. So I'll be right back. Here we are. I'm gonna go, and hopefully if the candies fall through, then I'm gonna back up really quickly. Nope, I heard it hit. Ooh, that's good news. Okay, two of them. Oh, this is so nerve-wracking. I'm nervous. 3. Okay, and I'm gonna pull the pin, and then I'm gonna run. Whoa. Did they go? Oh, now I'm scared. It hasn't gone yet. Let's see. Did they fall through? No, they're still sitting in there. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, ooh, maybe my hole was a little too small. I'm gonna jiggle it so they fall through. Ooh, or maybe I'll go poke them with something. Okay, let me go get something to poke them with. Okay. We'll do this again. Bernie, stay out of the way. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna poke it. Oh, I hope my knife will fit through here. Oh, go Bernie, go! Oh, that one wasn't quite as high as my first one, but still pretty exciting. Oh, and it's still fizzing. Let's see. Oh yeah. See that gas coming out? So here we are post-explosion. I'm going to cut off the side of the soda label so we can see how much escaped. Look at that. So about half of the soda and carbon dioxide escaped during our geyser explosion. That's pretty cool. So let's extend this a little if you want to. If you want to turn it into an experiment, you could play around with some things. So some things that you could change are, you might change what kind of soda you use. Maybe it's orange soda. Maybe it's another favorite like ginger ale. So you could change the type of soda. That might be something you try, and you could say something. You could make a hypothesis. Here's the word hypothesis, and that's a statement that says, if I use root beer, I think this will happen. If I use root beer, then I think I will get a stronger explosion. And then you could test that out. So you make a hypothesis, which is basically just a guess. And then you change one thing. That's your variable. The variable in this case would be the type of soda. You can't change anything else. You can only change one thing at a time. Otherwise, you don't know. If you have different results, you don't know what changed it. So we could only change one thing. So we could change the soda and see what happens. You could try a couple different sodas. Another variable you could change would be the type of candies. So maybe you don't use Mentos. Maybe you use Lifesavers or gummy bears or something like that. You could say, if I use gummy bears, then I think this will happen. So that's another variable that you might want to change. But you can only change the candy or the soda, not at the same time. Another thing you could try, you could change the temperature. You could put your soda in the refrigerator overnight or leave it outside because it's still cold in Vermont. So you could have cold soda or you could have room temperature soda. Mine was room temperature. I'd be interested to know what it was like with cold soda if I had a bigger geyser. So I could say, if I use cold soda, then I think my geyser will be larger. And then I could test it out. So those are different ways you could change this demonstration into an actual experiment and play with what the outcomes might be. So that would be fun too. So I hope you try this, and if you do, I would love for you to take a video or a picture and send them to us. I'll share the social media accounts with you at the very end, and just have fun with it, because this is just pure fun. Exploding something, running away, it's one of those big ones. I used to do this at the end of the year with my school kids, and it was always kind of like an end of the year fun experiment to do. So have fun with it. I will see you for the next edition. I don't know what it's going to be yet. Something really fun. See you soon, friends.